But just the hire the quite top talents which have a quite unique technology doesn't make sense. And even more, the hiring those kind of people is quite tough. So just hire more easy people and do more intensive sales or just giving the strong support to specific company and earn the enterprise money. That is it really makes sense. So.
Hi everyone, I'm Kaori, the host of AI Founders Mindset. I hosted a in-person event about Go Global from Japan, Part 3. This is a Q&A session. In this episode, you will learn about hiring and talent challenges. Why hiring and incentives look so different in Japan versus in the US and how that impacts innovation. Let's dive in.
Thank you so much. Okay, so let's do Q&A session. Yes, do you have any questions to these founders? Okay, let's run.
Thank you. It was really insightful talks. I have a question to Goto-san. When everybody's were talking about going global and finding the customers and in general going global, you mentioned something about the talents that in US you can just fire and in Japan you cannot fire. So what do you think is the causality of it? Like, don't you think that in US there are better environment for engineers and in general for founders? Because what's you're getting in US as incentives, it's like good salary, but in Japan you kind of get people that's good in tech because they're in Japan doesn't provide really good tech, and there's a vicious cycle. You're not investing in people, and then you have to get stuck with people who don't know anything, and you cannot fire those people. So how do you think Japan can change with it? What would be attractive for you if Japan will do some changes with the headcounting?
Thank you. So your question is how Japan can change the environment, like what you mentioned, right? So we can simply say, if Japanese company can make a business model which can freely leverage technology, it will be changed a bit. What I mean is that at first, now in Japan, hiring people is a kind of cheap, and then taking the more customer by the just number of people. I mean, they do more the sales, basically human intensive things, right? So that's quite reasonable. The hire the quite top talents which have a quite unique technology doesn't make sense. And even more, the hiring those kind of people is quite tough. So just hire more easy people and do more intensive sales or just giving the strong support to specific company and earn the enterprise money. That is it really makes sense. So So actually, this is very reasonable in Japan. At the same time, even if startup do enterprise businesses, I know that other global companies do more technology intensive business. For example, I know Samsung, Norway's startup, which also do the 3D AI things, and they're working with the Sony, but they do give more quite unique technology with few team members. So just in Japan, doing this kind of business was difficult because of hiring and also because of hiring. So finding the top talents and stuff, but instead of just hiring the more intermediate people and do more sales is a much more makes sense. So that's why it's a tough. But if startup could find a good way to leverage technology to secure more customers, this will be changed. So even, for example, right now, some kind of AI intensive company, they do this kind of strategy. So hiring the global talents for their own companies, and then develop more the customized AI to work for or something. So only in AI company in Japan, the situation is a bit changed, right? So something like Toyota's AI company, they are giving the quite excellent salary to researcher and do that business, right? So only those kind of business model can realize this. So just it's mainly caused by the business model, customer for the cheaper labor force with intensive sales. But at first, business model must be changed, I think.
And also like the hiring issues. So in Japan, you guys don't know about, there's a talent acquisition, right? This is the basically recruiter title. But in Japan, we didn't have that much for talent acquisition. We call recruiter. That's it, a recruiter. And talent acquisition is basic for investment, right? So like acquiring, it's kind of M&A, acquiring, margin acquire. So if you buying for Twitter or maybe Instagram for 1.3 billion, and Instagram, how much revenue they write out, right? It's not about, so in Japan, it's not about investment. Hiring is its cost. This is the mindset of Japanese previously wasn't thinking. But the Mercari changed so many startup scene actually. Mercari started IIT, India, and then also like talent acquisition. They pay very much for to the engineer, right? Even like they have an engineer, 1 million, engineer in Mercari. So, which is you have something to tell, but I think it's that talent acquisition is completely different. Also, I would like to comment for Japan, character is more equal. Everyone is equal. This is the mindset of Japan. So if you go to the elementary school, don't standing up. We have to sitting, right? And so if you go to watch the baseball, high school baseball, everyone is the ball. And because that's Japan is equal, right? Everyone is equal. So the salary, even the stock option, if somebody else is just very play favorite, why are you getting this, right? Why are you getting this like this? But it's a little bit changing, like from the Mercari, those startups changed so many rules, which is I think my point is a little bit changing because leader is not a Japanese. Leader is global. So the playbook is a little bit changed. That's my kind of perspective. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that Mercury and other companies, they're opening offices because they cannot just hire here. They don't want to invest in Japan because if they would want to, they will have to pay higher salaries. So they just go into the countries that's cheaper labor and easier to fire back to the bottom points.
Exactly. So I think the fire issue is a little bit hard. You know the Daini, the food tech. It's BaseMe and then also invested. It's kind of a very huge company, and
Japanese company.
Yeah, Japanese company, and they lay off 20% of the employees because of the global VC say something, and then a lot of the Japanese startups are saying about why you're just laying off or something like that, and then they're bashing, and even like newspaper are just telling, but come on, Shopify and Microsoft, right? Everyone just like lay off for AI, right? But that's the thing for culture issue, I guess, which is kind of very hard for firing is kind of very hard for the as founder. There's one question.
Thank you.
For your talk, I just would like to get your opinion about some companies or non companies application of software that are both successful in Japan and overseas. You have maybe some example in mind?
I mean, like Japanese company, they success in globally in both.
Yeah, have both in the interior market and globally.
The calendar, time tree, they're really doing good. Do you know time tree?
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
So time tree is the Japanese. They came from Kakao. It's a Korean, and time tree have a 60 million active users, and they successful in Germany, and then also Germany and Spain, and also Japan. Japan has probably like 30 million active users, and one of that's a consumer product. And then also, I think consumer product, smart news. I hope so. Smart news is doing in Japan, and then also US, but it's a little bit struggling. Smart news. I don't know. Well, yeah. Do you have any comments? Startup.
I don't know so much about the product. So for global markets, yeah.
Me too. I don't find such a kind of the product. Do you know?
There's a small company called Toyota that did pretty well, and Honda as well. And actually, we need to create the new versions of these companies. There are Japanese founded startups that are doing exceptionally well overseas. I would say Oishi. I don't know if you have managed to turn Japanese technology and Japanese genetic stock from Kagome and seeds into really great business. Managed to raise a lot of money. They will have their challenges going forward at the valuation that they raise, but that's a good example. I actually think Mercari is doing okay in the markets that they've done well. And people think about overseas companies, they think immediately, they think, you know, the US, right? The US isn't everything. The US is more and more difficult to do business in as every day goes by and some new rule changes. Europe represents great opportunities. France, Germany, very, very strong. Spain, very strong affinity for Japanese product as well. So a lot of food companies doing well. Wakaze sake doing very, very well. Biggest sake in Europe, actually brewed in France with European rice, and I specialize in food tech. So, and then I would say also Rakuten have done very, very well internationally, particularly in the European market. So I think there's examples, but they've certainly taken longer to scale, and it definitely seems it's much quicker for a US company to achieve market saturation in Japan than it is for a Japanese company to achieve it overseas. But we also look at so many wasted opportunities. I mean, look at Line. Look at Line. Line is a terrible application that used to be a great application because nobody cares about it anymore. And Messenger, WhatsApp have just eaten its lunch. So that's like negligence on the part of the founders, I think, or the owners. That's.
Yeah, I think it's the one. So you could go back to the Japanese kind of startup scene. So the Line's the first went to New York, and they have an IPO for 6 billion USD. That was in 2014. And then after Mercari went to IPO like the 2018, right? Mercari was like 7 billion. Well, USD just like kind of 5 billion or something. But so it's consumer app, right? Consumer app. I think it's that eventually we go to B2B SaaS and bunch of like the B2B SaaS. But this, you know, I think I'm just super excited for consumer product because it's you know, no matter where you are, just you can go global. So we talk pretty much for US, but I think it's go to global. It's not only the US. I think it's in Asia, APAC as well. You can see go to Grab, right? Grab is based in Singapore and then also Indonesia. And they have Tokopedia and something like bunch of the APAC. And there's a lot of the Indonesian people loves Japanese cultures as well. So we could more think about for global, which makes sense more like international, right? Such as US is a big market for SaaS, but probably IP or more gaming. It's other Asia have a potential, I guess. So yeah, that's kind of the issues.
I think Caddy is another company from Japan, which is
Caddy. Yeah, so they're doing the manufacturers here.
Yeah, they're doing good in Indonesia and like APAC.
Right.
Okay, last question, someone. Okay.
Hello. My question would be to Barry. So when we talk about going global from the Japanese perspective, the pressure is always. Is it okay?
It's fine. It's just quiet.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah. So the pressure is almost all the time on the entrepreneur that okay, maybe it's the culture issue that the entrepreneur is not going global, but ultimately what I've felt is that going global is quite competitive. Like you need to spend a lot of money, and a lot of startups they feel to go to US or maybe UK because even if you want to hire someone part time, you need to pay them more and advertising, marketing, and it's just the entire process of going to global can be really expensive. For example, if I want to hire engineers or business people in US, it's going to cost us a lot. So then don't you think the responsibility to fund these kind of ideas also relies on the venture capital? Because in Japan, the venture checks are not as big as in US, and VCs, they also don't want to take a lot of risk. So that's why they look for immediate revenue, which is quite opposite the case in US, where one of my friends who's like 19 and he raised like $3 million round for his seed startup, which can be without any revenue. So how can the venture capital industry itself change this mindset? Because I think we are pushing a lot for the entrepreneurs that okay, go global, but you need money to go global, and I don't think the mindset of the VCs and the LPs are changing, at least in Japan.
Like, this is the moment when I'm saying I'm not a real VC. We invest our own money. We don't have an LP fund. We invest a lot, but we don't have an LP fund, and VCs are accountable to their LPs. because they've got an LP partnership, and VCs are the most risk-averse group of people that I know, especially VCs outside of the kind of US venture capital market. Now, my perspective on that is you're not going to change the VC's mind on something, but VC is all about the right signals. And I will, as a small investor, Value Create will as a small investor, when founders say to us, we're focusing on the US market from Japan, maybe it's a little bit different if it's a globally natured product, but I always say, show me the signals that indicate, firstly, there's two answers, that you have a product that will achieve a product market fit there, and then by all means go and go global first. Why are you in Japan? Is it cost of engineering? Is it something unique about Japan that can help you? Is it just that you live here and you like it here? Which worked very, very well for Notion, frankly, who managed to stretch 3 months runway into basically more than a year because they based themselves out of an IKEA practically in Kyoto for a while. But that's the first thing. So that's an okay excuse. I'm building for the US market, but I know the market inside out, and I have signals. Signals are really important. I often meet founders, and I won't say that the Japanese founder, because this is a global phenomenon, say, well, we've built it here, we've launched it in our home country, and now we're going to go global. And say, well, so can I just see the numbers for your home country again? Because, often going global can be fleeing your problems, right? If you haven't got to product market fit, if you built something for your domestic market, you don't just say, wow, they don't understand me. Right? And they're going to understand me in the US, because chances are they probably won't either. So that's another signal for a VC. And I think you'll find that most investors, VCs and angels, if they see the right signals and they realize that them helping fuel your growth, that those signals are scalable, that you can ideally you put one in and you get 2 out, as opposed to 1 in and 1.5 out, and then you put another one in, you get 4 out. That's sort of exponential growth curve. The VC is convinced of that, they're going to help you go global. So, but that's the really, really important thing, those early stages of product market fit. However way you want to measure it, the numbers have to go up. It can be users, it can be revenue, it can be retention, but the numbers have to go up before a VC will back an expansion plan like that. And that's the challenge. The expanding, you multiply your problems. So you've got teams overseas and you're here, and it's so messy. You all know it. It's so messy to do. Anybody that wants to connect, just connect with me on LinkedIn, or if you want to talk about any of this sort of stuff, I talk about it all the time. I love talking about it. Kari, come on.
Network.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, let's do networking time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching our episode today. We hope this conversation will help your future and career. If you like it, please subscribe us and give you a like. Okay? Thank you so much. Bye bye. またね。チャオ。